Feeling lost? Here's what it really means and how to start again. You wake up with that heavy feeling again, like you're wandering through a life that used to make sense. But now, it doesn't. The job, the routine, the identity, they all feel like clothes that don't fit anymore. You don't know what's next. Worse, you're not even sure who you are anymore. Let me say this clearly. Feeling lost doesn't mean you're broken. It means your life script, the one you've been living, no longer fits the person you're becoming. And that is the start of something powerful. We've been taught to panic when we feel lost, to rush into fixing, planning, distracting, anything to avoid the silence. But in psychology, feeling lost is a critical identity phase. It's called narrative disruption. The moment your current life story collapses under its own weight. And while it feels terrifying, it's necessary. Because without collapse, there's no space for something new to emerge. Think of the ancient Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The cracks aren't hidden, they're honored. Because the breakage is what makes it valuable. What if your confusion isn't the end of the story, but the gold about to be poured in? Here's what's actually happening in your brain. When your identity collapses, your mind enters a state of cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of holding two conflicting beliefs. First belief, this is the life I built. Second belief, it no longer feels like mine. Your nervous system wants safety, predictability, but your deeper self is begging for truth. And that internal tug of war, that's where the feeling of being lost comes from. In neuroscience, this is a liminal phase, a neurological doorway between who you were and who you are becoming. Your brain begins to prune old neural pathways, habits, beliefs, and assumptions. And while that rewiring happens, everything feels uncertain. It's like standing on a train platform after your last train has left, but the new one has not arrived yet. Most people hate that space. They try to escape it, rush into something, anything, just to feel grounded. But that's how people end up rebuilding the same old life in a different costume. So what actually works? Step 1. Name the lie you've been living. Not everything about your old self was fake, but somewhere along the way, you started editing yourself to survive, to be loved, to stay safe, to appear successful. What version of you got rewarded? Even if it wasn't real, write that version down, then cross it out. Step 2. Pay attention to what still feels alive. Even when you're lost, there are sparks. Small moments that feel warm, real, and connected. Like a book that hits you differently. A conversation you didn't want to end. A feeling in your chest that says, this matters. These are clues. And enough clues eventually become your compass. Step 3. Stop trying to rebuild the whole house. Just take the next honest step. One action, one yes, one no. Direction isn't found, it's created. Here's a story they don't teach you in school. Leo Tolstoy, one of the most celebrated writers of all time, once stood on the edge of a field, ready to end his life. He had everything: fame, wealth, status. But he wrote in his journal that he couldn't answer the one question that mattered. Why? What pulled him back wasn't a grand epiphany. It was a quiet shift. He began to pay attention to the people who lived with simplicity and truth. And slowly, he rewrote his life story from the inside out. He didn't find clarity in thinking. He found it in humility and action. Your story doesn't need to be as dramatic. The path is the same. When the old version of you dies, it leaves behind a space, and in that space, anything honest can grow. Here's the trap to avoid. Don't confuse feeling unfamiliar with feeling wrong. Something new always feels strange. Real growth feels clumsy at first, like writing with your non-dominant hand. You won't be confident. You won't be certain. You'll second guess every step. But here's the paradox. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. You must move forward, and the path will appear beneath your feet. Let's make this real. Right now in your life, what's the one thing you know is not working? And what's one quiet truth you've been ignoring? Start there. That's the doorway. Not to the old version of you, but to the one who's been waiting underneath all along. You are not lost. You are in between stories. And if you let it, this chapter can be the most important one you've ever written. Subscribe. This is where the rebuilding begins.